about you is if you have ambition to be great, my job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for yet another one. Hope everyone is having a fantastic start to the week as we head into the middle of the week. And hey, man, I'm just out here. I mean, I got Bills fans trying to argue with me about what I say on my show. Like, I know everyone in the chat, we got 110 people already lining up. And I know a bunch of you guys are regulars. So let me know in the chat, has my motto not been this whole OTA and minicamp? Has it not been take notice of things, but don't put stock in them? Has that not been my motto? Have I not continuously called it the Underwear Olympics? Have I literally shown all the highlights and the lowlights and said, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter till the pads came on? And yesterday, I even went off about how it doesn't matter until the joint practices start. So we got Bills fans trying to say, oh, well, because I tweeted out today because everyone was over OTA stuff. And I said, listen, look at it right there. Right there. Robert said it 1 million times. All right. I've been planting it in everyone's head that watches this show. Nothing matters right now. Doesn't matter if it's a good throw or bad throw. My only thing has been, hey, show the good stuff and the bad stuff. That's where I've been at. Show both of them, because some people will show either the good stuff and not the bad stuff, or just the bad stuff and not the good stuff. Like I got a Teddy Bridgewater throw I'm going to throw today. I don't just show all the Tua stuff and all the good stuff. I just show what they allow us to show. Anyways, you know, Bills fans out here trying to get this thing rolling. I'm flattered that Bills fans even know who I am, or, I mean, think of me enough that they got to comment on my stuff. I mean, rent-free ever since I dragged. I know everyone's been dragging that Nate Geary or Geary guy, or however you pronounce his name, on Twitter. People forget last offseason I dragged that guy from one side of the to the other. Back when I had 3,000 or 4,000 subs, not even where we're at right now, I was doing better views than the channel he was involved in. And he said, tried to big time me. Oh, at least the channel I'm involved in has 10,000. I said, bro, I got like 3,000-4,000 subs, and how am I doing better views than you guys? Y'all got 10,000 subs. I'm out viewing you. Bad example. So this whole Nate Geary guy. Buffalo fans, this is why. The Buffalo Bills are the team I hate the most. You know, I know a lot of people hate the Patriots and even the Jets. For me, the number one team is the Buffalo Bills. I live about an hour away from being able to watch a game. You know, I used to go watch the Dolphins all the time back when it was Ralph Wilson Stadium before it got turned into New Era and such. I hate the Bills. Buffalo is the armpit of North America, let alone the U.S. All right. And the Bills fans who come from there are basically the armpit of mankind. So I hate the Bills. I absolutely can't stand the Bills. The only people in Buffalo I got time for are Dolphin fans in Buffalo, or Penguin fans in Buffalo, or Blue Jay fans in Buffalo, or Raptors fans in Buffalo. If you do not fall under one of those four categories and you live in Buffalo, you fall under the armpit of the world. Thank you very much. All right? And yes, Rome, you know what? You make a good point. Let's take Rick James out of that. Let's take Rick James out of that. All right? K Jax, I actually have a place down in Florida. I have a place down in Orlando. Anyways, that's how I feel about that's how I feel about Bills fans and people from Buffalo. All right? Sorry, I just don't like you guys. All right? I used to walk into Ralph Wilson Stadium as a teenager chanting "fuck the Bills." All right. I hate the Bills. I hate their fan base so much, like passionately. The two fan bases I hate the most in sports, the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Flyers. Can't stand them. Can't stand them whatsoever, man. So, shout out to all the Bills fans who watch and sit there hating on the Dolphins. We're living rent free. What's going on, Color? We're living, appreciate it, bro. We're living rent free in your head. That's all I got to say. You better hope TD never bring me up on an AFC East roundtable, because I'll make every fan base hate me that don't rock these colors. It's just what it is. All right. Now back to my original point. Listen, I've shown the highlights. Listen, do I give a shit about Tua hitting Tyreek in stride in OTAs? No. The only thing I care about is them getting timing down. I don't care about, and that can come from 10 or 15-yard outs. You know what I mean? That could come from freaking 5-yard curls. I don't care. I care about them getting the timing down. I don't care about 60. Everyone knows how I feel. Keep your 60, 70-yard bombs. I don't give a shit about them. I'm here for efficiency. I need elite efficiency, elite accuracy, and elite football IQ. I need those three things to build a dynasty from that position. So that's what I care about. Keep your highlights. I'm worried about them getting it's the same thing when we go back to the Azukama stuff, right? When I went over the stuff that Keon Crossan had let come out, right? And people were mad that Tua didn't take the out route underneath up the sideline and that he forced the post route to Azukama. First of all, it was a good throw by Tua. I've already gone over that stuff. Azukama, if you really want to get at the top of his stem, up the top of his route, was not very good. All right. I want him testing the middle of the field on that throw. This is the time to make mistakes. I want you testing areas of the field you were not up to par at last season. This is the time where you can test them. I don't want you testing that stuff in the regular season when the snaps matter. Make your mistakes now. This goes for anyone. Like Teddy Bridgewater has been struggling all OTAs. Have I even been negative about him at all in regards to that? I've made facetious cracks, but I've said I still think he's the best backup in football. You know what I mean? That's never wavered. But why am I not putting big stock into it? Because it's OTAs. Teddy been in the league for like 7 years. Unless he's struggling mightily when the pads are on and the joint practices are happening and preseason's happening. Okay, let's have a talk about Teddy Bridgewater. I'm holding Teddy to the same thing I'm holding Tua. I don't care right now. I don't. I'll start caring when I don't. Well, a part of that is too, I don't trust a lot of these beat reporters, whether they say negative or positive things. I'm kind of stubborn like that. You know, I trust my eyes more than anyone, which I think a lot of us should take that stance in terms of you should trust your own eyes before anyone else's. But a lot of these people have proven they don't know what. Remember 2-3 years ago they were saying we had 2,000-yard receivers coming out of between Preston and DVP because that's how they looked. Remember how good Noah Benogany looked in OTAs last year? And then in training camp, when the pads came on, he was a freaking disaster. Do people forget that? That's why I'm not putting any stock in this. Jakeem Grant. Every year, Jakeem Grant looked like he was going to make the Pro Bowl or All-Pro as a receiver, not as a returner, because of the workout stuff and the stuff he did in the Underwear Olympics. Pads go on, guy disappears. So this is a multiple player thing. This has been going on. It is what it is. That's why I don't put stock. That's why since day one of OTA started, what have I told you guys? Take notice of things. Do not put stock in them. Not yet. The reason why I said take notes is because you've taken the notes. So if this stuff starts popping up when the pads are on and joint practices and the preseason starts, now you take stock. You had the notes. You're referring back to your notes. You're seeing the same stuff you saw in you had in your notes. Now it's a pattern. Right? Now we're getting into patterns. So that's why I say, again, like someone said earlier, you said it a million times, Reason. It's my whole motto for this OTAs and minicamp has been take notice of things, but do not put stock in them. That's it. That's all. Matt Cole, Buffalo, where your girlfriend and your first cousin have the same name. Oh my God, I love it. Absolutely love it. So that's why you haven't seen me overreact. Like you've seen me get hype over a throw that he makes to Tyreek, but at the end of the day, I even still say, hey, it's the underwear Olympics. So, and I don't lose my mind over 60, 70-yard bombs like people in this community apparently do. Right? I just don't. And again, I come from the era of Marino. Maybe it's because I seen them. We had that and we didn't win shit. So maybe that's why I'm kind of like, whatever. You know what I mean? Dan Marino is still my idol growing up. Him and Mario Lemieux are still my idols growing up, but we didn't win shit. Now, I attribute a lot of that to Don Shula, not Dan Marino himself. But all I'm sitting and saying is we had that and we didn't win shit. All right? I remember crying with my dad when we lost to the Bills in the AFC Championship. I remember the Stoyanovich miss against the Chargers. We didn't win shit. And we had that. A lot of these young, newer cats, they weren't around that. That's why I keep telling you, give me efficiency, give me accuracy, and give me a high football IQ, and we gonna win. And we gonna win a lot. So, anyways, that's my whole thing, is my whole motto, this OT. And anyone saying differently, either you got ears and eyes that you don't know how to use, or you don't listen to me and you're straight up assuming. But we're in the underwear Olympics right now. There's nothing worth, hey, if I was so hyped and these things were changing my mind, wouldn't I be calling this guy? Wouldn't I be like, Tua's a franchise guy, blah, blah, blah. No, I've been sitting instead. I'm saying, hey, he's got to get into that top 12 range this year. I expect top 12 play from this guy. I've told you what my expectations are. If my expectations are not met, me personally, in what I expect, do you think I will be happy? Do you think I will be pleased? No. Now, on the same sense, like I told you guys yesterday, I do have my issues with things that are out of Tua's control. Well, really one thing. And it's not even just Tua. The offensive line worries me right now. I don't like the whole Connor Williams at center thing. People are trying to share him with reps against Aaron Donald in OTAs last year. What do I get? I'm going to hold those to the same standards I'm holding everything going on in OTA. I don't give a shit about reps that were in Hard Knocks last year that he got into it with Aaron Donald. No. When the live bullets are flying, let's see what's good. And those are cherry-picked reps for a visual entertainment aid of him just getting into it with Aaron Donald. Let me see this man down, serious as serious can be, head down, having to snap the football, get his head up, explode out of his stance, and start stopping interior defenders. I want to see that. I don't want to see no clips of him getting into scrums with Aaron Donald. I don't want to see that. And yeah, I know Armstead ain't there yet, but guess what? Eichenberg's a guard. I got to go off what I saw last year. Eichenberg did not have the anchor to be a guard last year. So I'm hoping everything's changed. Right? And I've told you guys, I've told you guys, I've been being reported to me and stuff I put on the Patreon. I've heard the offensive line has been in shambles. Man, I've heard Tua was like, I'll tell you exactly what I heard about minicamp last year. I'll repeat it again for those of you who were not here yesterday. I heard Tua was not good on day one of minicamp last week. Underthrows, overthrows, missed guys, etc. I heard day two, he was average at best, and those 2 throws at the end of the day made his day worth talking about. So, up until that point of those 2 completions, I heard he was average at best. But I heard the offensive line has been a disaster the whole time. I've heard the offensive line has been like Dieter. The reason why Dieter's been this communication and snapping issues. Connor Williams, better communicator, better explosive out of his stance, but he's still having snapping issues. I've heard the offensive line has been dominated by Wilkins and Jalen Phillips. I heard this, like, I've been hearing this for a couple weeks now. But again, sure, I'm not sitting here biting my nails and stressing to you guys, oh my God, right now, right? Like, I'm not like, I'm not doing that, bro. I'm hearing this stuff, but I'm not pushing the panic button. Because I got to see pads. I got to see joint practices. I got to start seeing, like, actual reps that matter more than the underwear Olympics. Right? You can't get nasty with a guy when you don't have your pads on. You just can't. And that goes on both sides of the football, defensive and offensive guys in the trenches. So let me see them when they're in pads. That's why I'm not, guys, the offensive line. Now, I'm more concerned about player fits off what I've seen with these players, and that's what I'm more concerned. I'm not concerned with what they've been playing in OTA. I'm more concerned with player fits, and guys were drafted to be power scheme guys, and now we're asking them to do totally different stuff. I'm more worried about that jazz. All right? I'm more worried about, how do I word that? The intangible parts of the position? I don't know. I'm more worried about the stuff or how you look at it from a coaching perspective than I am from a performance and OTA perspective right now. And that goes for the O-line, man. Like, we haven't heard Jack Bo Diddley, except I said it yesterday, and then McDaniel talked about him today, funny enough. But we haven't heard anything about DeCondre White. I brought him up. I said I heard he was the best guy at rookie minicamp. I heard he's the only running back that's been making plays and we're talking about right now, et cetera, et cetera. But we ain't heard about anyone else. Salvin Ahmed, we've heard about here and there. Myles Gaskin, not really. Obviously, Raheem Mosert's not out there right now. So, man, this OTAs has been a interesting ride. Like, I've totally fallen back on Twitter because I just sit back and let people just lose their minds over stuff. It's like the whole Watson stuff. Who is really shocked? Who is really shocked that the Texans were in on the Watson stuff? Come on. I told you guys months and months ago when we were in the heat of the Watson to Dolphins stuff that every team in every professional sport has a cleaner. They clean up messes privately with NDAs, money, et cetera, et cetera. They're literally called cleaners. They exist on every single team. This is why when people are like, oh, the Texans leaked this to disparage Watson, why? You're hurting his trade value. And listen, they know that had been going on. They're going to clean that up because that was their franchise guy that was putting numbers on the board for them. They're going to clean that up. I don't know why people are suddenly shocked that they knew the extent of this and they even had a hand in hotel rooms and setting it up. Hey, man, me and EM theorized when the FBI got involved, and now that I'm seeing more stuff come out, me and EM had a conversation when we saw the FBI get involved because we were like, why is the FBI getting involved? You know what I mean? And I don't know if I said it publicly, but I know I said it privately. I always thought the chick that owned the spa, because I said this, she kept popping up in a lot of different reports. And I was like, is this chick a mistress? Was she running like, a happy endings thing with this woman, because people kept referencing like either she referenced the women to Watson or Watson to the women. I was like, was this chick being a modern day mistress with a massage parlor? And then now again, you see more reports coming out that this woman was setting them up and blah 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 blah, and she was like really, and you see her involvement. I mean, clearly Watson got himself caught in a ring led by a mistress. That's what happened, it looks like. So I don't know, but I don't know why people are shocked at the. I don't know how people are shocked, man. What are we shocked about right now that the Texans knew? Come on, it's a franchise guy. They know everything that goes on, bro. You take a piss, they know you're taking a piss. Okay. By the way, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. 370 of you in the room. So I didn't even understand why people were shocked by that, man. Some things where you think logic would come into play here, and people would just be like, "Oh yeah," but nope. So, anyways, we got a bunch of stuff to go over. I'm going to go over my Mike McDaniel's presser from today. We're going to go over the Miami Herald and the Sun Sentinels recaps of the day that was day 8 of OTAs. I got a couple things. I got a thread of Travis. Now, listen, everyone knows me. Go back to 2019, Locked On Dolphins. When Travis was Locked On Dolphins, loved his work. Okay. I'm going to show you his thread just to give more details of what happened today and stuff like that. But understand where it's coming from, okay? That's all I'm going to sit there and say. And it's, we got the company hat on, right? So, and there's a couple other beat reporters who got the company hat on too. So the company hat comes on with that. So I just wanted to show you guys with detail. And then I got some other stuff we want to get into. Jevon, Holland, and Emmanuel Ogbah said some interesting stuff today. So we'll go over all that. A lot of stuff to go over here. And we got, I believe, June 9th and June 10th. So Thursday and Friday are going to be the last days of OTAs. And today was the last day of OTAs open to, I believe, the media. So, but we're going to get into all of it right now. Let's get into this. Let's start off. We're going to start off with Mike McDaniel's presser, because that's really how the day started off before they went out. So let's get into what Mike McDaniel had to say today. Shout out to everyone in the chat already. Almost 400 people in there. Appreciate y'all. Just smack that like button. Help me out with my friend Al. Algorithm. Smash that like button. All right, guys. Let's get this rolling here.
Yeah. So,
all right, let's. I think they start off talking about sushi, so we'll start off with the sushi talk.
roll. It's really just a medium for wasabi. Yeah.
McDaniel doesn't eat fish.
I don't eat fish, but I eat sushi.
We eat sushi,
Makes
so
no sense.
not
Yep.
really.
That's called a child that wasn't forced by his mother to eat food, and then in social settings in his early 20s in Houston, it's like, hey, this is kind of a cool scene. Raw sushi. Let's try it out. That's all it was. And then it was, hey, this is spicy. That's all I eat. Red gravy is my favorite condiment, which is all hot sauce.
Like,
I'm going to get to condiments talk in a little bit. Now, probably 65% of coaches would probably not give a specific player answer to this question, but I'm hoping and guessing you might be part of the 35% that will to this question. Give maybe a specific player. So Chris Greer has had a lot of success in this organization finding undrafted rookies to contribute. Of the group so far that you have, the McKinleys, the Quandre Whites, Kellen Dishes, etc., who's flashed to you, Mike? Have there been a couple that have impressed you that you're willing to share?
What about the 5% that I will? So it's so hard. Just really think about it for a second. How difficult. I say it to the rookies all the time. Like the undertaking they have, where they're transitioning from a different game, and these are grown men that have been earning a paycheck, and you're trying to get reps from them and perform at a high level. So certain positions, I think, are more akin to show Fast and Furious. Typically, there's running backs, you get a little more opportunity because it's a little more natural to what you've done in the past. Hey, don't get tackled. And I've been very impressed with I call him Dr. White. But there's plenty of guys. I know my NFL experience has afforded me to know this much: do not make too early of a judgment, and what you're trying to do is really establish, should they have a ticket to the party? Are they, and really our whole undrafted class, there's not anybody that stands out, whether that's from an athletic perspective or just what it takes to be a professional football player. That's the credit to Chris and his entire staff, where they brought some young men that are hungry and meet the bar from an athletic standpoint. So it'll be an exciting late summer, early fall.
What's the message you want to leave with your players as the offseason program comes to a close and you go a while without having them in the building?
This is a cool opportunity that's uncharted thus far, and I talked to these guys a lot, put a lot of thought into this. We've had an off season that we've been fully committed. We've learned a lot. We've gotten better. I think that the coaches have done a great job, and the players have really attacked this off season, which I guess I would equate to the first quarter of a game. I'm comfortable to say the way they've worked, feel like we have a lead in the first quarter. What does that mean? Nothing. There's how many games are you winning in the first quarter that you lose, and vice versa. So we've positioned ourselves to compete at a standard that we've said from the beginning that we want to compete at. The biggest message is the obligation and accountability that they have to have to their teammates while they're gone. Because the one thing that has stood the test of time is if you don't come back in not training camp shape at the beginning of training camp, you make yourself very vulnerable to soft tissue injuries, which puts you 2-3 weeks behind. And more often than not, when it's all said and done, players never catch up because that's how tight of a race it is. So the spending time with your family, getting away, recharging, but also understanding this moment and what your teammates are counting on you to come back, and the Miami Dolphins organization is counting on you to come back in full shape, form, and desire, so that the cream of our team rises to the top, and whoever the
cream of the
best
crop
person is at every position, they're giving us the best chance to win.
He's right. I mean, look at Saul McKinley. I mean, there were people in Spaces talking about how Saul McKinley has apparently lost 30 pounds. I've heard Saul McKinley looks still overweight. And I mean, what makes greatness and what makes superstars is the work you put in outside of the facility. And now you're going to have about, I believe, a 6-week off period once we end here on June 10th, when OTAs officially wrap up. They're going to have about 6 weeks to prepare for training camp. So it's going to be, you got to keep putting in the work. Yeah, man, recharge, refocus, realign your zen with your family and get your everything in order. But, we're still in the thick of it, and business is about to pick up. So you got to keep in tip-top shape physically and mentally over that next span. That is what separates the greatness from the guys who are just, good or okay or average. It's the work you put in when you're not at the facility.
Like Tua said, he's never had a coach like you from the positivity standpoint. Can you talk about that a little bit? Was that like a pillar for you? You mapped out when you thought about what you wanted to be like as a head coach, and also is that like a conscious effort you take into your strategy?
I would say I'm just a positive person only because there's I'm the way I see the world is you're about the things that you can affect moving forward and about being present. I wouldn't say that I was really approaching it like, hey, I want to be the positive coach, because I don't necessarily think that I am. I know that's how people take it from afar, but really I want players' sole focus to be getting better at their craft and being the best player they can be. So I feel as though if you're able to be yourself, that's one less thing you're thinking about that's not getting better and perfecting your craft. So that opportunity cost is something that's important to me. So I want players to feel like they can be themselves. I also think that concerted effort in a group forum, hence team sports, just that collective venture is fun. The grind is fun, although in the present sometimes it doesn't feel like it is. So, but more than any of that, I know, and I think the players would attest, the most important thing is that they feel like they have an honest coach, because I can't help them if I can't give them honest critiques. And that, don't get it twisted, there's plenty of times that in my own way that I'm very, very direct, because that's what players are depending on. But it's not really about the positive. It's more about whatever the elixir is to try to maximize a given player's ability to perform, which is a coach's job.
Mike, with that being said, where did you adapt your coaching style from? A lot of the guys last week were saying, you're a player's coach. Every coach has a style. How would you describe your style overall?
It's kind of my style. I think I've learned a great deal from every situation. I think that's kind of the onus on the learner when in a situation. It's that you're not necessarily mimicking your behavior towards a person. You notice what happens when A happens or B happens. For me, I just want there to be no question from any player what my intent, objective, and where my motivation is coming from. So, you don't really pattern yourself after anyone. You get used to that when you grow up as an only child with a single mom. I didn't really have an example on how to be a dude or have whatever that is, and that's kind of manifested itself in my professional life, where you take things from each and every walk of life that you have, but I would say that's probably different just because I've never really patterned myself after anybody. I just I'm honest with very deliberate intent and a genuine purpose to help players get better. And I think that you create a culture not because this guy acts a certain way, but because you're really a group of people, and the people that you employ and the people that you work with, if allowed, they dictate the terms of what the culture is. And that's what I think you're seeing on a day-to-day basis. I'm not like, hey guys, have fun. It's more like, hey, this is your guys' team. Understand that now, own it, and how far do you want to take it? And the results are a collection of young, hungry individuals that it's June, so we haven't played a game. But for where we're at right now and the way they're coming together, I'm very pleased at this part of the process.
So right now he's pleased with, the part of the process with all the young guys See, that's the thing, like we all, the things these coaches sees that the reporters aren't privy to, that the media just in general isn't privy to, you know, you got to believe that they like what they're seeing. So, I mean, and it said the young guys too. So this is all over the place. So let's hope. And McDaniel doesn't seem like the type that would gas up something that isn't there. So let's hope this is going to translate into some results.
Following up what you said earlier about encouraging guys to be themselves. A lot of times you hear coaches talk about no one's bigger than the team and team. Like, have you viewed the concept of maybe individuality different as you kind of see a new era of players?
No, I think individuality is more celebrated as a culture in general, and I think people are more receptive to that. But don't get it twisted. The number one rule
How many
that
times
we
are you
have
going
on
to
our
say
team
don't
is
get it
protect the
twisted in
team.
this?
There's
I love it.
nothing greater than that. But I think you're the whole total parts of what you become is an accumulation of the individual pieces, and those pieces you're just trying to maximize what you can contribute to the team. And I feel like there's a certain degree of liberty and investment, and for lack of better terms, you're taking that opportunity cost of thinking about how does someone want me to act and applying it to what is my job. And you have to stay within the what's in the best interest of the team. But there's
John, I haven't heard much about Tyndall, but I heard
shouldn't
today
have
or
to,
yesterday he made a nice play.
if they have
I think it was
honest
yesterday.
intent, if they're accountable and you can count on them, and their purpose and drive is correct and of high esteem, then who am I to say you should act one way or the other? If I was policed that way, I don't think I'd be hanging out here standing at this podium waiting for questions about condiments to resurface.
Which is over on the way. I was going to ask you, it's good, knock on wood, you have a pretty healthy team. Obviously, you answered a couple weeks ago about Mostert, hoping he'll be ready for the opener. Does it look good for you for Alec Ingold coming off the Week 10 ACL last year as far as being ready for the opener, and any other health issues
Alec
you need
Ingold,
to
one of my
monitor
favorite
heading
offseason
into
additions.
camp among Tehran, etc.?
Doesn't get the respect he deserves.
All the guys, our medical staff does an outstanding job. We've been very, I wouldn't say cautious, but we've tried not to push the envelope, and we all have scars, and quite frankly, the guys that have been hurt are accountable pros that want to play worse than we all want them to play. I can promise you that with a fact. So there's nothing that's concerning us at this time. I feel very fortunate, but that's to the credit of the players, because we're working very hard, but they're also working very diligently to protect each other while having fast-paced practices.
I wanted to ask about Tua, and I know a lot is brought up about the arm strength and such, but what are your thoughts on him inside the red zone, inside 30, 35 yards? What did you think about him watching film before you started working with him, and what's it been like now since you got?
Well, from a football standpoint, we've spent a considerable amount of time emphasizing the first and second down portion of our game for a multitude of reasons. One of the being that there aren't pads on.
See?
But as far, I don't necessarily see.
Even he's telling you we're only limiting and doing certain things because there aren't even pads on.
Like, as far as his game, I think his skill set, it tighter areas only enhances his ability.
Close quarters,
he's
baby.
An accurate quarterback that really knows how to place the ball where he wants it to be placed. And all the red zone is to me is the defense is defending less amount of the field. So you're compressed, and we're still trying to move the ball forward. and get in the end zone. So those windows become tighter. The decisions have to be quicker. So the work we have done, I've been very pleased with it. But I see it, unless you are I would say the one outlier for red zone quarterback play is one of the extremes in mobility. You have a super extreme ability to extend the play and win with your feet. Typically, those guys are ranked pretty high. Or you have decisive quarterbacks that know where to go with the ball. And both of those situations, you're just taking advantage of space. And you can either create it with your quarterback and buy time, or you can create that space with timing and execution of concepts, which is something that Tua's been very good at his whole career.
If I could ask, I want to ask you about one, at what stage of the install for offense do you feel like you're at after maybe 4 weeks? And also, how do you gauge the offense, especially since with the running game without pads?
Yeah, no. So this being the sixth different team that I've been in the same offense my whole career. And
that was alluding to Mike
this being the
Westhoff's
sixth
comments.
Different stop. You gain a little wisdom in that, and there's compounding variables that you try to weigh. Well, how good is the existing defense? Is everyone starting from the same starting point?
Nope.
Are they taking calculus courses while we're learning algebra?
Yep.
This was an extreme case relative to the other stops in my career, because the defense was very, very productive in returning a lot of talented players. We also had an inordinate amount of additions, so it was a bunch of people learning to play together. With all those circumstances that really, my career has afforded me, I feel extremely happy and confident where we're at. We have just enough taste of what we're good at and what we need to work on. We have a lot of deliberate pros that.
So he's clearly happy with the offense's progress.
When guys
so far
are all in it and are thinking about it over their break and spending the summer, getting away and recharging, but at the same time, revisiting all the stuff that they've learned. There's a huge leap, in those first couple of days of OTA. So realistically, I go play by play, player by player, and within, I'm not really looking for touchdowns or how many negative. I'm looking at how people are progressing and getting better each day against a defense that's refining their skills, and I'm very very happy with where we're at right now, which means absolutely nothing. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Like I couldn't
see.
There's a couple.
I'm happy with
plays
that progress, but it means nothing. There's no pads.
But overall, as an offense, I'm very comfortable and confident going into the summer with what we've had the opportunity to do and who we're going against, which is a tremendous challenge. And on both sides of the ball, I think we've gotten better this offseason because guys come to work and challenge each other, are talented, high expectations, competitive, and try to win the day.
And if I can quickly, you mentioned condiments. What's your number one power ranking?
All right, so you see him there. Look, right then and there, he's telling you, listen, I'm happy with the progress, but it doesn't mean anything. It does not mean anything until we start rolling here. Right? It's OTAs, so I can be happy with the progress all I want until we start getting into real life situations here, joint practices, preseason games. This ain't going to mean anything. Quite simply, it's not going to mean anything. So our own coach right there is telling you, yeah, it don't mean anything right now, even if I'm happy. But he's talked about a lot of things that he's liked that he's seen so far. And again, remember, I said this yesterday when talking about Mike Westhoff's comments. You got a defense that's 3 years intact. It's only been upgraded. It hasn't been taken away from, going against an offense that's totally new, from coaching staff to personnel to playbook. So, yeah. And guess what? Even when your offense has been around for a couple years, shout out to Scott for the $2 donation, you're still usually behind the curve with the defense, because people forget, and they've talked about it in these, the defense knows a lot of the stuff they're going to run and what's coming at them. They have a pretty good idea. So, but again, even if the offense was balling out right now, like, look at, I talked about how early on in OTAs, remember, early on in OTAs, you know, we were hearing things about Tua that we hadn't heard in years before positively about him. But what did I say? I said, take notice, but don't put stock in them. And lo and behold, like a week later, and for the last week, week and a half, they've been a little bit less glowing, the reviews. So the ups and downs of the offseason have already started. Training, we got June 9th and June 10th are the last days of OTA. Then we'll be getting into training camp in late July, and we'll be getting into the nitty gritty. All right. So that's it. That's it. So let's just see, let it all play out. Let's revisit this. All these notes we've taken and all these things we've taken notice of. Let's wait and see if these things become patterns when the pads are on and the joint practices start and we have to play some preseason games. Then we can have some cause for concern. And that goes for everyone. Like, so. All right. Let's get into the reports from today, and let's go over day 8 of OTAs. So, Barry Jackson, highlights from Dolphins' final offseason practice open to the media, and notes on Tua and rookies. Miami Dolphins six-pack after the final offseason practice open to the media on Tuesday. The rookies have flashed, but don't necessarily expect big immediate contributions from a class that didn't have a first or second round pick. On Tuesday, third rounder Channing Tindall made a nice play defecting a pass from Skylar Thompson, but he was beaten by Salvin Ahmed on a wheel route on a perfect throw from Tua Tagovailoa that might have gone for a long touchdown in a real game. Tindall has a ways to go to beat out Duke Riley for the number 3 inside linebacker job. Riley has looked very good. Perhaps defensive coordinator Josh Boyer can carve out a package for both players. 7th round edge player Cameron Good got pressure on the quarterback on at least one play last week, but expectations are modest for the 7th round picks. 7th rounder Thompson shows the skills to be a practice squad development QB, but holds on to the ball too long at times. And remember, that's a guy who I've been told has the liveliest arm in camp, but here you got Barry Jackson saying he's a practice squad developmental guy at best right now. Eric Ezukuma caught 2 passes, including a 29 or 20-yarder on Tuesday. Zakondre White has displayed a burst that made it easy to understand why he averaged 6.2 yards per carries for South Carolina in America's toughest conference, the SEC. On Tuesday, White nearly fell, kept his balance by placing his hand on the turf, and kept running. It's iffy if any UDFA makes a 53-man roster. Overall, Tagovailoa has impressed teammates who see a real improvement in arm strength and leadership. He made one big mistake on Tuesday, an interception that Riley returned 62 yards for a touchdown. That pass, intended for Hunter Long, was his only pick thrown in 5 practices open to the media this offseason, and it happened to go back for 6. He also displayed perfect touch on that wheel route to Ahmed earlier that he said should have went for a touchdown. I just want people to understand. And then he talks about the quote from Tyreek saying 2 is equal to 10 Matt Moores. Tagovailoa and Teddy Bridgewater both completed deep passes to veteran receiver Cody Core, but neither play counted because of a penalty on one play and a Sam Iguavin would-be sack on another. And I'll show you the Bridgewater one. The Bridgewater one, he got flushed out, and it would have been a sack by Sam Iguavin. Core has looked very good, but the numbers are very much against him. Hill, Waddle, Cedric Wilson, and Ezukuma will be on the team, and Lynn Bowden, Preston Williams, and Trent Sherfield are the front runners for 2 remaining jobs if the Dolphins keep 6 receivers. I've told you guys, pencil in Trent Sherfield From what I've heard, he's been explosive. The coaches love him. Barring injury, pencil Trent Sherfield in because I've been told he's locked in Matt Holland's special team spot at minimum. So lock Sherfield in. Anyways, back to this. Core has 33 catches for 388 yards in 51 games and 7 starts for the Bengals and Giants. River Craycraft, who didn't catch a pass in 6 games for the Niners last season, has also flashed. The Dolphins' offense, while obviously improved, remains a work in progress. Understandable, considering a new system is being installed. The speed is impressive, and it's hard to tell their tendencies, Emmanuel Ogbah said, but the line remains a question, particularly if Terron Armstead has durability issues. Tagovailoa was under constant pressure one day last week and under some pressure the following day. He was forced to throw early a couple of times in a short, light session on Tuesday. Keep in mind that Armstead, the Pro Bowl centerpiece of the line, wasn't participating as he heals from a minor knee procedure. But it would be a concern if Larnell Coleman, Greg Little, or Kellen Deesh lines up at the position in a game next season. Something that's quite possible because Armstead has never played a full season and missed 9 games in 2021. What have I told you guys? On average, he's going to miss 2 or 3 games. What have I told you? That's exactly why. See, these are the concerns about the O-line I have. The O-line concerns aren't from OTA play right now. It's O-line depth, and it's current guys we have in certain starting positions, i.e., we're giving up at having the best left side in football, arguably, with Connor Williams and Terron Armstead because we couldn't get center right. We got to split Connor out and put him into a position that he's being cross-trained in, and then we got to slide in Liam Eichenberg in between the two of them. Anyways, Connor Williams, a left guard for the Cowboys, needs to prove he can play center, though he has the skill set to excel there, provided he doesn't have issues with snapping. He's been great, Raekwon Davis said of Williams. It's a fair match with those competing in practice. But much depends on whether Liam Eichenberg, I expect him to play left guard, which is where I've told you they've had him. The idea right now, I've told you, the idea for the offensive line right now, I told you guys this last week, that I was told during minicamp, Armstead at left tackle, Eichenberg at left guard, Williams at center, Hunt at right guard, and then right tackle, obviously, Austin Jackson. But much depends on Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson to take the step from poor to at least decent, and whether Hunt involves from good to very good. Terron has helped our guys, Hunt said. He's been everything we want to be in life. Ogbah said the Dolphin speed is kind of similar to Kansas City, but we have way more speed now. Everybody loves Mike McDaniel, who is a good combination of likable, approachable, but demanding. We'll get all Mike guard, Hunt said. You can tell he has our back. He's younger. We can relate to him. Safety Jevon Holland cited this as one area where he has improved overall development as a professional, conducting myself, in a more mature manner. Quick stuff part 2. Edge player Darius Hodge, who played in 4 games for Cincinnati last season, beat Adam Pankey on a pass rush. Hodge, who faces an uphill climb to make the team, has had a good offseason. Brennan Scarlett batted down a pass from Teddy B after producing a sack in an OTA session last week. Receiver Devontae Dedman, who had 5 return touchdowns in 15 games for CFL, dropped a punt. Waddle dove for a 25-yard reception from Tua Tagovailoa. So, again, offense, defense, clearly both out there making plays right now. And then this is what the Sun Sentinel had to say. This was their observations. Absences by some players creates opportunities for youngsters and journeymen to showcase themselves during off-season programs, and it seems Duke Riley had those snaps to showcase his ability for the Miami Dolphins defense. Riley, who carved out a contributing role for himself late last season as coverage specialist, has been an active linebacker in each of the practice sessions the media has attended the past month. And during Tuesday's session, he picked off a Tua pass intended for tight end Hunter Long and ran it half the length of the field for a pick 6. Riley, a former LSU standout who the Dolphins re-signed this offseason to a 1-year deal that could pay him short of just $3 million, started 3 games and contributed 26 tackles in 2021. He also blocked a punt that was returned for a touchdown on special teams. There is potential for Riley, whose fiance experienced a complicated pregnancy for the birth of the 3rd child, which we went over on the last show, praying for him and praying for his kid, to do more in 2022 because he now has more familiarity with the Dolphins defense. His elevation would allow Jerome Baker to play more snaps at outside linebacker. Woo! Thank God. Seeing Riley pull down interceptions like the one he corralled on Tuesday also indicates that he could have more put on his plate as a coverage specialist. Hey, I'm down. Overall, Tuesday's session was reminiscent of a Friday walkthrough practice or a third-teamer scrimmage. The Dolphins defense was practicing at 3-4 speed, wasn't blitzing much, and mostly backups were on the field because numerous veterans like Tyreek Hill were either absent or sitting out the 11-11 period. With 2 more practices before OTAs wrap up on Friday, this is what's expected from an NFL offseason program at this point. Some of the other standards for the day were receivers Cody Core and River Craycraft. They were given opportunities when the other guys couldn't play. Core caught 2 deep passes, but neither one of them would have counted if the action were live. The first deep throw touchdown pass from Tagovailoa, which featured no defender within 30 yards of the 4th receiver. There's a good reason for that, considering defensive tackle Raekwon Davis, who wore the orange jersey today, was offsides, and the play was ruled dead on the snap, but nobody told Core, and Tagovailoa threw it anyway, and why not? Core's second deep pass reception from backup quarterback Teddy Bridgewater in the final 11-11 period, but that wouldn't have counted either because linebacker Sam McGuavin would have sacked Bridgewater before the throw, which occurred while he was scrambling to his right. So, as for the plays that did count, Craycraft caught 3 passes during the first 11-11 period. It's clear why Miami's coaches brought him in from the 49ers as a free agent because of his craftiness. Craycraft being crafty, huh? Working between the hash. Linebacker Channing Tindall, the Georgia standout who Miami selected in the 4th round of the draft, made a couple of plays for the first time since we've been in attendance. He broke up a pass to Ethan Carter. He's the rookie Miami's expecting the most from, but it seems as if his head is swimming due to everything he's trying to process at this point because we're not seeing the speed he's known for, but this is common for all rookies. Zaquandre White, whom coach Mike McDaniel mentioned as one of the top standouts when it comes to the undrafted rookies, made his usual 1 good run per day on a cutback to the right side that would have produced at least 20 yards. It's pretty clear that White, a standout at South Carolina, has good vision. If I had to guess, White has a decent chance of being on Miami's 53-man regular season roster if he can produce on special teams and has a strong showing during the exhibition season. The offense is known for making most out of undrafted tailbacks. Speaking of tailbacks, Salvon Ahmed caught a wheel route that might have been a touchdown from Tua Tagovailoa because the defender was diving at him on the play and failed to get him out of bounds along the left sideline. Jalen Phillips delivered a sack on Tagovailoa during one of the 11-11 periods, but this wasn't a day where the offensive line got beat up too much. Linebackers DeAndre Johnson, an undrafted rookie out of the University of Miami, Darius Hodge also delivered would-be sacks. So again, both sides of the football making play. There's the wheel route to Salvon Ahmed that no one's really talking about. That was a good play. Riley, obviously, with the pick 6, big play. Tindall made some plays today. So there were both plays on both sides of the football today. But again, kind of a relaxed atmosphere, lackadaisical practice. Everyone's not going full tilt, but when those pads are on, they're going to go full tilt. And just some more detail of things that went down today. Like I said, let's look at what Travis had to say. This was Travis's thread. He said, the play of the day was another long ball. Tua finds Cody Core for a touchdown when he got well behind the defense. Core also caught a long one from Teddy. The offense had a nice day stretching the field and getting chunk gains throughout. So he called that the play of the day when everyone else has said the defense didn't go on that play because of the offside. So there you go. What was I talking about earlier, right? River Craycraft caught 3 balls in the first period, 2 for chunk gains, sinks his hips into his breaks, snaps it off, creates separation. Nicest throw from Tua was a ball to Ahmed up the sideline on that wheel route they kept talking about. Beyond the outstretched arms of the coverage, looked like a 50-yard touchdown depending on the closing speed of the safety. Later, he threaded one into a tight window, settling Waddle into the zone with location. Duke Riley capitalizes on a Tua misfire as the linebacker undercuts a pass and takes it the other way for 6, much to the delight of the defense. Channing Tindall gets a play on the football as he breaks up a pass in coverage, played around the back of the target using that offhand to turn him. Jalen Phillips had a would-be sack at each practice the media's been at. He's been showing out during the entire offseason program, including another one. Jarvaris Davis, who again I think we're sleeping on, he's gonna, this guy always plays games for us. Jarvaris Davis had a really nice play where he came off his coverage and impeded a pass to another receiver. And then Trent Sherfield is fun to watch work in every area of practice. He goes hard, runs really crisp routes, and manages to find receptions every day. Man, I told you guys, Trent Sherfield, lock him in. He's making the 53. He is making the 53. And then again, just to let's keep some consistency here, because guys, remember, no Tyreek Hill or Mike Gesicki for the Dolphins today. Mike Gesicki and Tyreek Hill, they did not play at all. So Hal Habib, who was also there, this is what he had to say in regards to the plays of the day. He said, noteworthy big plays. Bridgewater to Cody Core for about 60 yards versus double coverage. To a hit Ahmed along the sideline. Ahmed eluded Tindall for 57 yards, which would have been a touchdown on the wheel route. And then one play after throwing incomplete in heavy traffic, Tua threw a pick six to Duke Riley for 62 yards. So there were big plays all on both sides of the ball today. Good stuff. Good stuff, man. All right, let's get into Jevon Holland. And let's get into Emmanuel Ogbah and what they had to say today. Let's start off with Jevon Holland and what he said today. Jevon Holland, he said, NFL teams have all the film they want to scout draft prospects. They can watch drills at the combine, but when many general managers emphasize are those 18-minute meetings they're allotted with players in Indianapolis. Getting to know him as a person, Greer calls it. Such a meeting helped seal the deal last year as the Dolphins opted to use a second-round draft pick on safety Jevon Holland. Confident they weren't getting just, say, any 21-year-old, but a 21-year-old mature enough to take the leap to the NFL. We know what happened next, how Holland not only became an instant starter, but impressed everyone with how he carried himself. Holland isn't a rookie anymore. As the Dolphins began winding down their offseason program Tuesday, Holland was describing priorities he set for himself in 2022 when a phrase you never expected to hear, you heard. Me conditioning myself as more of a professional was probably the most important thing, he said. The voice inside your head screamed you were heading down a nutty path, but you had to ask if anything in the way he conducted himself as a rookie required correcting. I don't know, he said. I just feel like I'm getting older. I'm 22 now, getting up there in age. My friend Jevon, you're 22. You're not getting up there. Holland let that hang in the air for half a second, aware of how nutty that sounded. Nah, he said, I feel like I'm getting older, so I just conduct myself in a little bit more of a mature manner, even if it's already seeming that way. Somewhere inside the GM office, Greer had to be retracing his steps to assure that whatever it was that drew him must be repeated for every draft. Holland isn't the first Dolphins rookie as cut out mentally as he was physically to survive in this league, but he's in elite company. Having both a father and older brother with Canadian CFL experience set the tone for him growing up. Still, Jevon was on his own the moment he took over that starting role in a season that saw him tied for third on a team with 47 tackles, plus have 2.5 sacks, 7 QB hits, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, and 10 passes defended. Holland then went to the Pro Bowl. No, he wasn't selected as a rookie. He just went to hang out with Xavier Howard and all the other stars to experience what it takes to reach their level, which he will, which I already think he did. He should have been a Pro Bowler. That was a shame. I feel like I try to earn a lot of my teammates' respect through my play first. So they know that if something happens and I say something, it comes from a place of love because I want them to get better. And I would want them to push me the same way. It's not necessarily me just yelling at them. Leadership is the word we're looking for. Even if it's coming from the youngest starter on a defense that ended the 2021 season on a tear. I feel like it's been a lot better, Holland said of Josh Boyer's unit. I feel as a collective, as a whole, the defense, it's amazing we're all back in one area. It's really impressive. It's rare, honestly. Many pros will tell you the biggest jump occurs from year 1 to year 2. Holland isn't ready to commit to that, pointing out that he hasn't begun his second season yet. Besides, he added, I feel like every year you have to improve. I don't know what year it is when I'll stop getting better every year and I'll be the best I can be. But right now, I'm always on an uphill battle. Listen, the stuff he's given us at that position, from a leader standpoint, from a coverage standpoint, from a player standpoint, now you guys know why they moved off Bobby McCain. I know people like to smile or people like certain little things about Bobby, but it was the right decision. And now you guys understand why I was talking about this player since 2019. Now you know in October of 2020 why I put him, 2020. Yeah, 2020, why I put him in the top 10 of a top 25 list of collegiate players Dolphin fans got to keep an eye on. Jevon Holland is special, man. Jevon Holland is, it's going to be a dogfight between him and Jalen Phillips for that number one spot on that defense whenever X backs away from the game. But, man, they knocked it out of the park with Phillips and Holland last year. So, man, you love what I'm seeing. And then, guys, Emmanuel Ogbah had a chance to speak today. You saw a little bit of his quotes earlier. He said the defensive line is an aspect of the Miami Dolphins roster that has a high ceiling going into the 2022 season. With players like Jalen Phillips, Christian Wilkins, Zach Seiler, and Raekwon Davis, we should be seeing some serious pressure along the line of scrimmage this fall. Defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah has been arguably the best player in that unit since he signed to Miami in March 2020. Here, EM, I know you're in the chat. Let's give ourselves the old Barry Horowitz pat on the back. We called that one. Man, I still remember when they signed him, everyone wilding out over Byron Jones, and me and EM were like, nah, man, Emmanuel Ogbah is that dude. That's the perfect blend of power and athleticism and speed for this defense. You watch. He's going to take off if he stays healthy, and Ogbah's been phenomenal. You have to work on the little aspects of your games. That's what OTAs are for, Ogbah said. I'm glad we have the whole defense together so we all know each other, how we operate, how each of us work. So that's how we develop from there. Since signing a 2-year, $15 million contract in 2020, Ogbah has recorded 9 sacks in back-to-back seasons for the Dolphins. In March, he earned an extension with a 4-year deal worth $65 million. While Ogbah said that getting double-digit sacks would be great, he stressed that doing anything to help the team win is the end goal for him, whether that be sacks, hurries, or batted balls at the line of scrimmage. Even though Ogbah has been in the league for 6 seasons, the Oklahoma State alum said he still has aspects of his game he's improving. It seems like Ogbah and the rest of the defense will have their hands full as the Dolphins offense now consists of playmakers like Jalen Waddle, Chase Edmonds, Mike Gesicki, and superstar receiver Tyreek Hill. For Ogbah, that gives him a chance to become better as a player as he's watching film and trying to figure out the offense. Oh, yeah, it's definitely tough defending. Now we got Tyreek Hill, we got Waddle, and some other guys, Ogbah said. I'm going to be doing more film study, learn about the offense because we're going to play similar offenses this season. Before seeing Hill in a Dolphins uniform, Ogbah said he first saw the receiver's ability when both went to Oklahoma State. Ogbah attended the university from 2012 to 2015, while Hill was there in 2014 before he was dismissed from the team after a domestic assault case. The two were also teammates when Ogbah spent the 29th season with the Kansas City Chiefs, where they ended up winning the Super Bowl against the San Francisco 49ers. The venue for the Super Bowl was in Miami, and current Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel was a run game coordinator for the Niners. The narrative throughout McDaniel's short time as the head coach has been that he is a unique offensive mind and a positive influence. From a defensive perspective, Ogbah said McDaniel is different from any coach that's been around in his career. Oh, he's very smart and he knows what he's talking about. He knows offense really well and he's just different from other coaches. He's just a unique type of coach, Ogbah said. I haven't figured him out. During the season, I probably will. In a unit that does include younger players, more younger players than Ogbah, like Phillips, Wilkins, Seiler, he said that the team does see value in him being a leader type in the locker room. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm still back here. But they view me as a leader. Whatever help they need, referring to the younger players, whatever advice they need, they can come to me and I will give it to them. There's no pressure with it. It's just like, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. I won't change anything about my game. With Raekwon Davis earning the orange jersey in Tuesday's practice, which is awarded to the player of the day, Ogbah sees that and the other defensive players that have been getting the praise. You see us all in the orange jerseys is definitely good, having those guys back, having everybody back to mesh well, Ogbah said. Like I said, we all know each other's strengths and weaknesses. We got to develop together now. Friday will mark the final day of OTAs before the team starts mini camp before the season starts. I think he meant training camp. The 2022 NFL season begins with a home opener against the New England Patriots on September 11th. Man, Ogbah has been absolutely fantastic as he continues to really not only be a leader for this team, but a cornerstone of this defense right now. I mean, he's a cornerstone. The guy's turned into a cornerstone, and as long as he continues to stay healthy, nothing but positive things are going to happen for this defense. And man, honestly, I'm just excited. I'm here for it, baby. And finally, guys, I'd like to close out shows recently with some stats to throw your way. Another stat for you guys. Wide receiver leaders in yards after the catch since 2017. Number 1, Cooper Kupp at 2,845 yards. Devontae Adams, number 2, at 2,648 yards. And the third most yards after the catch since 2017. Tyreek Hill, 2,622 yards. Finally, baby. And not only did we add a guy who's deadly after the catch, but he's going to allow and create space for other guys like, I don't know, Jalen Waddle to be deadly after the catch. Man, that signing is going to have such a ripple effect on this team that this offense, it's just going to be must-see TV. I mean, I've said this before. People are out here worried about arm strength, about Tua. Man, you could go put one of us out there. You just got to be able to throw the ball 5 to 12 yards, get it in Tyreek's hands, and let him make his plays. Straight up. All you got to do is let him make his plays. The rest of you put the ball in Tyreek's hands, and the rest is just going to come with it. Again, people don't want to talk about the fact that, Patrick Mahomes, the number 1 quarterback in the NFL, at throwing at the line of scrimmage last season. Right? Like, I'm telling you, if this offensive line gets his act together, if you give us a top 20 offensive line, hell, I'll take 22. I'll take what the Bengals got last year. Give us a top 22 or top 20 offensive line. We are going to see a vast improvement in this offense, man. With not only the upgrades, but the time to will be given, the offense that's installed, et cetera, et cetera. All it's, a lot. Again, we're going into another year where, yes, I put more onto his shoulder than I did last year because now we're in that vaunted third year I always talk about for quarterbacks and players. But just like last year, the receivers, the run game, and the quarterback success, it's going to hinder a lot on that offensive line. So that offensive line is going to have to be better than last year. Right? Mr. Ballgame, one of the smartest things and intelligent things he's ever said in this community. The quarterback position is the most dependent position in the game of football. Why is that? You got 5 guys on the offensive line you're relying on to protect you. Right? You got 2, 3, 4, 5 guys on the field as receivers, depending on the set, even sometimes 1 that you're depending on to make the catch for you. You got multiple guys in the backfield you're depending to be able to establish a running game and alleviate the pass rush for you to keep defenses honest against the pass. You're depending on your offensive coordinator to get the game flow of the game down and the play caller to make a lot of right calls. So it's the most dependent position in football, hands down. So, and it all starts with that offensive line. But receivers are dependent on the offensive line because they need the quarterback to get time so the quarterback can get them the ball. And the running backs are dependent on the offensive line because they need holes created. They need them to give the quarterback time to operate so stacked boxes aren't a thing against them. A lot starts with that offensive line. That's why the old cliche saying is games are won and lost in the trenches. That's where it comes from. All right, guys. I'm going to be back most likely on Thursday. If anything breaks tomorrow, I will be back. But I appreciate all of you guys spending some time with me. Verone McKinley film study coming very, very soon. But I will be back. It's looking like I'll be back Thursday and Friday for you guys. If something breaks tomorrow, or if there's stuff that I need to talk about and get out to you guys, then you can expect me tomorrow. But for right now, expect me on Thursday and Friday. Anything's possible. Could change. I could be back tomorrow. But I appreciate each and every one of you coming out for another night. Man, it's been awesome this week. 3 nights in a row so far. Appreciate you guys and the viewership we've been getting. I love all of y'all. I appreciate all of you. I want each and every one of you to stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. I'm going to drop the link if some of y'all want to chat backstage. Knock yourself out. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I will see all of you guys on Thursday. Expected could be earlier and it could be on Wednesday. But until then, stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. As always, you already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day, baby.